Hey guys, what's up? Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/eggs show. That's EGGSSHOW. Audible has more than 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or just about any device you can imagine. As Eggs listeners, you can download a free audiobook today by visiting audibletrial.com/eggs show. This episode of the Eggs Podcast is unofficially brought to you by Fresca. That's right. Fresca is the only zero-calorie, zero-carb drink that is not sponsoring our show. You can get your Fresca at your local supermarket or any convenience store. Unless you're Ryan, then you can get it at Costco in the bulk section on pallets because he uses that much. That's right. Fresca, the unofficial, yet officially end of summer drink, according to Ryan.
Bang ding ding, trademark. He come out 6'7" tall. Bang ding ding, 1 inch star. Bang dong ding dong ding dong ding dong ding dong ding dong ding. This is a perfect day.
Woke up to the sound of the garbage truck again. Upstairs neighbor's toilet's leaking on my head. Cars broke down, I missed the bus that runs at 10. I had a feeling this was a day to stay in bed. I finally left my pad right on the jumper's cloud roof. A police officer pulled out his gun and said, I said, sir, you got the wrong guy. I guess it's just a perfect day. It's just a perfect day. No, 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 no,
Hey everybody, welcome back to an exciting episode of Eggs. It's coming to the end of summer. It's been a minute or two since
It's not the end of summer
I
yet,
know,
is it?
but it is. Like one more weekend and school's kicking off, so it's like, kind of the end of summer.
I guess.
Although it seems like maybe it's global warming or something, but we seem to be summer until like November now, so
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
it's not really the end of summer, but typically what happens with our show is we sort of have to pre-game a little bit for the summer season because Miguel travels a lot, I travel a lot, and so this is like the first time we've sat down in studio to just have a conversation with each other for some time. And we're also joined with our new special guest. You may have noticed him in show credits, so he's kind of famous for our show credits.
Yeah.
I'm a pretty big
But
deal.
Big deal.
But
Yeah.
Brandon A. Spittle is our new producer brother. He comes and hangs out around the studio and accepts not too much money for doing the gig, so it's awesome. He's I'm just going to let him tell you. I'm not going to give you the whole story. So anyway, ladies and gents, Brandon.
Hey, what's up? It's
How-
me.
how's it going?
You totally murdered my last name, dude.
Did I?
Oh yeah,
Aspittle?
Technically,
Oh, that's right. It's
Aspittle.
Aspittle.
That's why on all the credits
What?
it's just Keith.
That's right.
Keith, yeah.
It's just Brandon Keith. now.
Brandon Keith, and that's. Should we edit that out? Do
You
you
should
want to
start a
be
country
unknown?
band.
We can
Oh,
we
it's
can
fine.
go back and fix this.
I have about I have about 15 years of school teachers pronouncing it wrong. It's just totally natural. I ran in one of my
I feel
college.
like A. Spittle is actually better, though. So,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, even though I may have said it wrong, like it might be better for you.
Espatili is my favorite.
Ooh, I like that one.
Espatilli?
Espatili, yeah.
That's them
sounds
trying
classy.
not to say ass when they're
Yeah.
saying your name.
Oh yeah, no, it's all of the religious school teachers I had. Espatili, I'm like, good enough.
Close.
Well, I like going with Keith and then starting a country music career. I think that's
Oh, I
probably the
should
move.
Brandon
There you
Keith.
go. Yeah.
Yeah, Brandon Keith sounds like
awesome.
Garth Brooks' alter ego. What was that guy with Chris Gaines?
Chris
Gaines.
Gaines.
Yeah, it's kind of like that.
What a beautiful. Yeah, no, basically.
You could do the hip hop country rap thing. That's like a thing now,
That's
though,
a thing
right?
now. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it's like Yeah, that's what Little Nas, he broke the records right now.
Well, wasn't Garth Brooks the first one to do it? He
Yeah,
did
he
like
did
an
kind of a
album
thing.
with like Nelly or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think you could do that. I think you should be Toby Keith's alter ego, though.
Oh, I should be Toby Keith. I'll have to call him and be like, can I be
The hipster
you?
version of Toby Keith, but all American dog.
Well, instead of doing it the Garth Brooks route, where he actually just changed his hair to look like Chris Angel, we'll just do it this way, where you're his alter
I'm a
ego, but you're actually a totally different human.
So I have to live your life for a week, just like walking, be like, hi, honey, like talk to his wife and kids.
Yeah, when you're on tour, you stay in the big house.
Oh, I see no downsides to this.
All right, Toby, hashtag Toby, hit us up. So anyway, Brandon has been coming around the studio for a couple months now. And honestly, you've probably seen our production ratchet up a little bit. I blame a little bit of that on Brandon. Things have been great, and we're just stoked to have you around, man. We really appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks
Dude,
for.
I'm hyped to be around. This job's the best.
Let's
Yeah.
talk a little bit about just like sort of your background. So, I mean, Mike brought you in as basically an audio engineer, helper guy.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk a little bit about sort of that background and how you got, like, why are you here versus just, your dashing good looks and all these other things.
Well, there's a lot of things why I'm here. Mainly, so I've been doing sound just about my entire life. My mom always told me she drove me home from the hospital listening to The Offspring. I remember the very first MP3 player I ever got. I remember the first song I ever listened to that like touched me in any kind of way, and I was like, "This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do
He
music."
remembers his first MP3 player.
Well,
We're
he-
so
It
old.
was this big. No, it was,
I remember my first
and it was so
cassette tape.
small.
I used to walk around with the CD player, and I had Dude Ranch by Blink-182 on CD.
Oh, nice.
And I listened to it till it died.
And it had the buffer for the battery, so like if you
Yeah.
bumped it, it wouldn't skip. Yeah,
And it-
Discman.
Yeah.
Everyone made fun of me in elementary school because I'd open up my backpack and I'd pull out my case of CDs, flip it open, and I'd like stick another one there. So I was really into music, and then I started around high school. I got really into bands, going to concerts. I went to a stupid amount of shows.
What was
like,
your first show?
Bowling for Soup.
Oh, interesting one.
I knew that'd get me some respect.
Yeah.
Yeah, hell
Yeah,
yeah.
bowling.
Well, among the Phineas and Ferb crowd, I mean, you can't be, a cooler guy.
I know. They're like, oh, I'm like, I know.
You know it, right?
I know. So yeah, Bowling for Soup was my first one. Then I got into a lot of heavy metal shows, and I've seen like A Day to Remember and all those bands like way more than I'd like to.
Then
admit.
you should. Yeah.
Dude,
yeah.
I'm super stoked for this band called Amon Amarth.
Oh,
they're
Amon
coming.
Amarth
They're
is the
coming in
best.
November, and so I think I might have told you about them before. But
The-
basically,
the
they're
chanting-
Viking death metal.
Dude, a mom, I
And
didn't know they were coming.
yeah, they're
I'm
coming in
so
like
gonna
November.
go.
In
and
Salt
so,
Lake?
Yeah, they're here in Salt
Even
Lake.
better.
Yeah, we'll have to broadcast live.
Oh, of
from
course we
Amon
will.
How do you
Amarth.
know about that, but miss Joe Rogan and Dave Chappelle?
I know, right? Yeah, no, Dave Rogan and Chappelle played together
Dave
at
Rogan?
USANA. Yeah, Dave Rogan played at Chappelle, or
Dave Rogan.
Dave Chappelle and Joe Rogan, hashtag @ whatever, just played USANA like Saturday night.
And
Like
he had no
I had
clue.
no idea. I didn't even know it was happening.
I saw
and
it was coming,
billboard.
and I kind of sped up past the billboard because that's how much I just wasn't interested.
Well, see, I love both of those guys. I mean, we've seen Joe Rogan before, but
yeah.
but Dave I've never seen, and I just happened to see a billboard on the way to the Real Salt Lake game.
Well,
yeah.
so here's another side tangent too. Is like he's getting into
He being Brandon.
Brandon is getting into the podcasting studio because he appreciates podcasts,
Oh,
but
yeah.
he's never listened to Joe Rogan.
What's the matter with you?
Yeah.
I guess I don't know, man. Everyone talks about him in such a way, and then there was that whole Elon Musk smoking weed with him, and I think there's better interviewers out there than what I've seen Joe Rogan do.
Yeah,
And I know
well,
everyone's
Rogan
gonna
has-
hate me now. I just lost your entire audience.
No, that's okay. The more we can say Joe Rogan, I think that'll help with like SEO.
Yeah.
He pays me $5 every time I say it.
So, but no, what's cool about Joe is that he's just like super casual with everybody. So he just kind of lets them go. And so, but that's
But
good
he
and
also
bad.
he also kind of puts them in check if they get too far left field. He kind of like will ask the right questions to get them back.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's
it's
like just
with him
smart
being
enough.
the biggest podcast in the world.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
and
among
you want to
them.
work in
Yeah.
the podcasting world.
Yeah, you should probably check it
You
out.
should probably listen
So,
to it.
but,
At least one
at least one.
But
now
you know,
I have
I've
to.
tried to show tried to show Joe's show to like my wife and other people like on road trips and stuff, and people don't get it like until you're in. Like you've kind of got to give it a couple runs and then you get
Okay.
into it. Like I usually go back and like I don't listen to every episode, but I go back and I look for the ones
That
that are
stand
people
out.
that are
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
interested. And often, and this is probably not good form with Joe Rogan's podcast, but often I won't listen to the ones with comics with like comedians. because they spend so much time just talking about how cool it is to be a comedian and
Well,
like
and
the
see,
clubs, and
for
because they have all
me-
this.
Oh, yeah.
Well, they have all that shared
I
experience.
relate to
you know?
that.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of the same kind of like
Yeah.
granted, I'm not a comedian. I'm not on the same platform as them, but like the stuff that they run into and they talk about is similar to shit that
Yeah,
happens.
and I don't
with me.
mind it. Like there are a few comedians that I love that come on that show. You know, like the Duncan Trussells of the world,
Yeah.
and Tom Segura's and the Brett Kreischers, and those guys are all awesome. But I think what it is that I don't like is they just kind of get wrapped up in this comedy world conversation, where like I'll listen to a lot of these like scientists and stuff that come in the show too, because he has such a diverse group of people that
He
come on
just
the
had
show.
Bernie on yesterday.
Yeah, and see, like that will be really interesting.
It was
because,
interesting.
because Joe takes these kind of really smart people who are way, way, way smarter than him, and like puts them in like a way where people who are dumb like me can understand it. Like
Because
it's pretty cool.
literally him trying to understand it himself.
Yeah, and he's really good at
So they
asking
have to dumb it
questions and
down.
inquiring and digging into questions and stuff. So I mean, it's different, and it's not like real high production. I mean, there's like no cool stingers or like little buzzes or anything. Sound effects when spring sounds or whatever. But the high class stuff. But generally
Fart noises.
speaking,
No fart noises.
yeah,
No
generally
fart noises
speaking,
on the
though, I
toilet.
really like his show, and so check it out. As
All
a
right,
guy
fine,
in the
I'll listen
podcast
to it.
world.
All right.
Fine,
Okay.
fine.
So-
You guys got me.
Yeah,
All right.
Yeah, the other one to grab.
I did check out your last podcast on the left though, and they're hilarious.
Oh yeah.
The I don't even know their names. A bunch of comedians go and talk about like murder mystery stuff. You
nice.
turned-
Oh, Small Town Murder.
no,
Is that the one you're talking
the
about? Or you're
last
talking about
podcast
last
on the
podcast?
left.
I haven't listened to that one.
That's
I told
a
you about
good
Small
name for a
Town Murder.
podcast.
Someone told me about it though.
Yeah, that is a
It's-
great
It's actually a really good one. Last podcast on the left. It's a bunch of comedians that they tell murder mystery stories and then like narrate them. Kind of like
That's amazing.
yeah, it's
That sounds
what-
pretty spectacular.
Yeah, that
it's
sounds
it's
incredible.
quite amazing. Actually,
That's awesome.
So,
Well, somebody hashtag them. Let's get them for some SEO too.
You know what
Okay.
the key to having a successful podcast? It's having really cool celebrity friends to get on your podcast.
That's kind of the whole thing.
yeah,
I
that's
think
the whole
actually.
thing. We need cooler friends. You guys
Yeah.
brought me on. This is the wrong choice.
Yeah, we're actually going the wrong direction.
damn it.
no one knows who I am.
Well, what we're trying to do is actually turn
We're
off
trying to
everyone
make
who
you
is
famous.
listening to
That's
us
the idea.
and
Oh,
push
I
them
see,
backwards.
I
Yeah.
see.
But
So the other years ago, actually, so one of the other big podcasts I listen to is Adam Carolla's show, and obviously he's one of the big dogs too.
Right.
And coming through Salt Lake here pretty quick, if it hasn't happened already, and we need to see if we can pin him down to maybe just say hi on our
Yeah.
show, or if we can record him in person or something.
or we hire Marcus to act like him.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you do a Adam Carolla parody? Well, so this show, Eggs, was originally pitched at an Adam Carolla podcast event
Oh, yeah.
down in Irvine. And we did not win, unfortunately, because it was for a Podcast One contract. So it would have been pretty awesome, actually, to win that. But I still think we had maybe the best idea. And so
And I would be I wouldn't be hesitant to go back and look through that whole lineup and see if any of them are even still
yeah,
operating.
I'm curious. I have the number of the guy who won, so I need to hit him up and see if he actually proceeded to do the show. But anyway, Adam's coming to town, so I was hoping we should try and grab him. We had one of his co-hosts, Gina Grad, on in the early days. She was actually one of our first call-ins,
Yeah.
and she was great. And so I'd like to chase them down.
Another
but,
one that is good that you might appreciate is Jordan Harbinger, and they're on the same podcast network.
Yeah, that Podcast One.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So, but what I was going to say, so also at this pitch fest that I was at, there was this guy. He didn't pitch, but he has this podcast, and I think it's one of the best ideas. And I guess he's still doing the show. So if it is, look it up. It's called Long Voicemails, I think.
Oh.
And basically, what he does is pretends to call people and then just leave them like really long voicemails. So he leaves like, I mean, it's like 10 or 15-minute episodes or whatever, and he just leaves these long voicemails for random people.
That's
Like, it's pretty
incredible.
awesome. I thought it was a really clever idea for a show, and yeah, so he still does that. I'll try and look him up while we're talking, see if I can give him some love.
That's funny.
That's the best part about podcasting is you can have just about any batshit idea, but if you can build a community around it, it works.
Well, so here let's take a little sidestep here. We've actually got a couple shows that are kind of coming up on the Eggs Podcast Network.
yes, the ace.
Yeah, we should probably introduce that idea.
Yeah.
So one of the things that's been happening around here is we've been talking about trying to expand our reach and trying to get to bigger and broader audiences besides just the audience of our show. And one of the things that's come up is this idea of a podcast network of some variety. trying to, build some kind of community around, not just eggs, but the other shows that we can bring in. Brandon has some background in podcasting himself. He had a show of his own that I think is getting a reboot or something around here.
Yep, it'll be redone.
You did that for College Project, right? You started that off?
Yeah, in college, we all had to make our own little projects, and I was the only one who did a podcast. Everyone made solo acoustic songs on their guitar, and I was like, here's an incredible podcast. The show, me and Mike are actually going to start hosting it when it comes out on the Eggs podcast network. It's going to be called Killed the Radio with Brandon and Mike. Woo!
Yay!
And essentially what it is...
I think I might just change my name just for different shows. One day I'll be Eric, one day I'll be...
Kill the Radio with Brandon and Balthazar.
Yes,
he was a hard get, but we got him.
We got him. He was really tough.
Something hard to say every time. But yeah, so talk about Kill the Radio.
Yeah, so essentially what it's going to be is, I work, I'm a sound engineer. Also, I go out and do bands, and Mike is a DJ. We both have behind us a plethora of bands that we know that not a lot of other people know. And Kill the Radio is going to highlight those bands, highlight the history, starting from the first single they released to what they're doing now. And it's us commentating on how they've changed over the years and just, the whole evolution
what
of
stands
bands.
out with the music.
Yeah.
This and that.
Yeah.
It's a cool concept. We did a trial run a few weeks ago, and it was kind of fun.
Yeah,
so
I had a good time.
I'm
Only kind of
excited
fun.
for
You're
it.
like, it was okay.
Yeah, he's going to bring Balthazar back in to do the rest of these. He tried it once, but he's out.
Yep, we're done.
Yeah, so that'll be the first one we're working on. That's going to be the first one rolling out. We're pretty excited about it. We're hoping to get a lot of bands coming in to be guests on it. When it was just me in college, I had a couple big bands come in and interview. So I'm thinking now that I'm not just in a bedroom, they probably would be even more interested.
It'll be definitely less creepy, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
hey, stick your head in my closet and talk to me for now.
hey, do you mind coming in here with me?
Oh, it wasn't even that bad. It was like,
Don't mind the shoes.
yeah, that's a cat box. Just forget it. Just push it to the side.
We have to cuddle under my comforter for soundproofing, so just come and hang around here.
And if you hold my hand, it's so much better.
Yeah,
Just
dude,
for
I had-
rapport building.
I had this one rapper from LA called Reason the Citizen, and I was just supposed to do a phone interview for him. And he's like, hey, can we do video too? And he switched it to video on his end, and he's in a world-class studio. And I clicked on my video, and I had just moved. And I was in an empty, hallway with my computer, and I was like, hey,
Awkward.
how's it going, man? Yeah, so...
But so there's that one, and then do you want to talk about the other one, or is
Yeah,
it still kind of
so-
on the DL?
No, I'll talk about it. So we're recording the first episode, not this Sunday, the one after. We're all getting together. But the second one on the network that we're going to be working on is going to be called Dungeons and Drunkards. We had to change the name.
Oh.
So it's going to be called Dungeons and Drunkards. Essentially, it's Dungeons and Dragons played by a bunch of Dungeons and Dragons enthusiasts, except it's all based around the idea that it's a drinking game. And everyone who listens, obviously safely and responsibly, knows the rules, can tell when we mess up, and as the characters go on, we mess up.
So would they have to pick a character that they're playing with? Because if they
Essentially,
drink
yeah.
every time the team drinks, they're gonna get.
How it works is like...
Yeah, we need a lawyer sign here.
No, seriously. Essentially, one of my characters is King Gizzard, the Lizard Wizard, and if I have a voice that I do with him, and I have everything I do with him, if I break character at all, you have to drink, and in the world, you have to drink. So, my character carries a flask around with him, and as the show progresses,
So
everyone...
could he literally get sloshed and can't perform, die in the quest?
He loses 12 XP with every shot.
Yeah, if you roll a 1, you have to take a shot. That's one of the rules. So the
Okay.
worse you do, the worse you're gonna do. That's the
So
other
if
one
your
that we're
friends
coming
are
out with.
wheeling you out on a hand truck, you did bad.
I have to engineer it.
I feel like it's all about
Someone has to be the responsible guy in the room. So I
Yeah.
really pushed hard to not be that guy.
Yeah,
Okay.
forgive the 45 minutes of dead air in the middle.
I might have to
just
come
right
in
now.
and babysit studio time for the first few.
Just to make sure everything's... No, we're really excited
Brandon,
about
I like
this
you,
one.
but
I just don't know about this. I was really, when I pitched the idea to Mike, I was really nervous. I was like, hey, thanks so much for letting me have this job. I do have this one idea. It involves us drinking inside of the studio. And that's never something you want to say to your new boss.
Yeah, no, I think what we do is we just outfit the studio door with a nice little padlock on the outside, and you just kind of keep them in, and then you just check on them in the morning as like kind of a social experiment.
I have like 12 hours of just recording.
Just like the security camera footage on high playback.
No, that's,
And this is when he passed out.
Yeah, we'll be live streaming security footage.
oh, that would be terrible. No, eventually we want to do like the live stream you guys do, but all of us dressed up. Like that's the
wow.
whole, and eventually the main goal is to get it built up enough that we can go to Comic-Con and do panels of it live.
You know, we have connections
awesome.
to some of those
We
things.
do we do
Oh,
know
yeah.
some peeps
Yeah.
over at Comic-Con.
Yeah, we're thinking that's the best way we're hoping to get it out there. We're hoping to build a fun community of people who like to play D&D.
So here's the thing: is like, I'm not a D&D guy. Ryan's not a D&D guy.
Wow, I can tell.
Comic-Con
Yeah,
isn't
no.
like our habitat. We don't go to these things, but
We
we
should, though. The
recognize that
cosplay
it's
chicks are hot.
huge.
Oh, yeah,
and
it's giant.
like, tell us about like, don't you listen to D&D podcasts? Aren't they a thing already? Kind of.
So they are a thing. First of all, we're going to be, from every one I've listened to, we are going to be the best sounding one. Most D&D podcasts are like, bam, here's a microphone in the middle of a table, and we're all
Just playing the game
playing
around it.
D&D.
Yeah.
Ours is a comedy Dungeons and Dragons podcast.
Yeah.
It's people are getting on, they know what we're doing, all the rules are stated out before. It's not serious at all, and it's just like, here's us having fun playing D&D, whether, compared to the most popular
So-
one, Critical Role, is like they're playing Dungeons and Dragons and it's all voice actors being very serious.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that you would have the comic aspect of it.
That's
and it
our
would-
that's our niche, is the comic aspect, and we're kind of hoping, like Drunk History. We're
Uh-huh.
shooting for that kind of audience vein, where it's like, this is fun. People do it while drinking. Now hear us do it while drinking, and
We need to find a local like cab company or someone to sponsor the show,
Yeah.
just so
Well,
you can get to and from work.
Well, see, I guess this shows me how bad I am. Like, I was actually thinking a booze sponsor. I was like, how do we make this work?
Well,
And that's
we're
honestly,
working on that,
we have
actually.
connections with High West already,
Oh,
and like
nice.
Talisman Brewery that we're already going to contact and get them on board. I'm with you. I didn't once. We just told a friend we'd give them gas money if they would
all
just
gotta
come
start somewhere.
to. Yeah, man.
Yeah, the sober guy, everybody chips in money for gas.
Exactly,
That's the
and
move.
like buy him a burger.
Well,
or
the
something
fact that
after.
you had that under control already, that says a lot. So you're good in my books.
I'm not just gonna come in. Hey guys, we're just gonna come in the studio and get smashed. What do we do after? I don't know.
Well, figure it out. I guess I'll sleep over here.
Well, that's something I would do.
Roll
So-
the dice d20.
There is a sofa here. Like, let's
Yeah.
just,
No,
let's
dude, we
just
got
sleep there.
some fun shows that are gonna be rolling out. I'm really excited, and they're all coming together.
Yep. There are
it'll
also
all be good.
a couple other things in the works. I mean, nothing that we can really formally announce, but I mean, other shows sort of around business and entrepreneurship. We've been kind of talking a little bit about doing like some little mini series on specific topics and things like that. I mean, all kinds of stuff coming up.
Yeah.
We've even talked about maybe some other beer centric podcasts. I mean, it's largely an excuse to get to know brewers and
it's
things
a
like
theme,
that.
right? So
it's a good theme.
we got the Dragon Drunkards. I want to say
it's Dungeons and
Dungeons
Drunkards.
and
is the
Dungeons and
name.
Drunkards. Okay.
TM.
So we got them. Now we need to find that would cover both beer and distilleries.
Anything close.
Yeah.
right.
So anything that can get you messed up, pretty
Yeah.
much is what it comes down
Yeah,
to.
I've got Listerine on the phone.
Big sponsor.
Yeah, they're going to just send us crates of it.
Don't worry about it. I have hand sanitizer. Don't even stress. I'm just realizing that 2 of the shows I have pitched to you guys are beer related, and I'm
Yeah,
starting to
I'm
really
sensing a problem
question.
here.
Yeah, no, there's definitely a theme
There's a
emerging.
theme here. Yeah, maybe I do need to talk to someone.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of that, how about a therapy show? Let's get somebody in here that can set up a sofa in the studio, and we'll just do a therapy podcast.
we do need
I
a
actually have a
sofa.
guy if you want to do a therapy show.
Wow.
He already does some podcasting, but we could do a therapy show.
That would be
And so,
I don't want to know the show that's a therapist podcasting out his sessions.
yeah,
You know,
no,
you know what a
it's-
great show would be though? It's get the therapist show, but get some dude to like hire an actor every episode.
Right.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
No, I was thinking
this
about
is your
this.
theme. This is what you
What
do.
if we did the therapist show, but they were drinking?
Oh, then it'd be just like a regular therapist, right?
Right. Except for this time, the therapist is sloshed and asking what he really wants to ask you.
Oh, that'd be-
Drunk therapy.
I don't think my wife likes me. Probably not.
Hey, want a shot?
Pulls out flask.
So, anyways.
But beyond that, we are looking for other people who may already have podcasts and shows and are interested in getting involved. Feel free to shoot us an email. It's what's the new email? Just go to eggscast.com and fill out the form.
Yeah,
it
that's
will,
the best
it will
way to do
probably
it.
get to us. We'd
Maybe,
be
if
interested
you're lucky.
in any shows or even show ideas, stuff in their infancy. We're obviously most able to produce shows here in Salt Lake City. So if you happen to be in this neck of the woods, that would be ideal. We could do something with shows that are remote, though. So don't exclude yourself if you have a cool idea and you're looking for a place to give it some love.
Yep.
So,
We
yeah.
have some connections to help with pretty much anything. So, Ryan, you've been writing lately.
Yes.
You've that's kind of, I don't know that it's new for you, but
well,
you've been publishing
So
lately.
for people who've been paying any
And
attention,
that's new for
yeah.
you.
So for anybody, yeah, that's true. I am constantly writing, just nobody's ever reading it. No, so the backstory on all that deal is actually for people who were listening to this show a year ago when we had Ryan Carson on.
Yeah.
That was our 1-year anniversary show. And one of the things he did was break down his morning routine for us. And so we spent a little bit of time going through that. And basically it was something like get up at 4:30, sit down, write for a little while, go do some exercise, watch some videos on sales, all that kind of stuff, and then get started. And then he had kind of a cool setup too, where he has sort of a hard out at 6 o'clock. Like after that, it's family time. Don't call me. I don't want to hear from you. And he really just is very disciplined about that. And so, because I'm constantly looking for ways to be a better me, I went ahead and gave that a shot. So I started at the beginning of 2019.
I think he made it a week.
Yeah,
week and a half,
I made
4:30?
I made it about a month.
You
but
did
it-
4:30 every day for a month?
Yeah, but it was brutal.
Yeah.
and
I was
and
going to say, I
realized
just
I'm just
take
not
his
the guy.
same schedule and I shift it by like 8 hours. So I'm
Yeah.
up at 12:30 and I go to bed at 5:30.
Yeah, see,
That's
it's
just
perfect.
what,
And so anyway, but one of the things that he said, that he did is he'd spend some time creating content and things like that. So I decided one of the things that I'm good at is writing. And so I wanted to spend some more time writing. And so I took that time from like 4:30 to 7 before my kids got up and would just write. And I wasn't about to start doing the workout part. So that's too early for exercise, but writing I could handle. So anyway, so I started doing some writing back then. So I've been at it for, I don't know, almost a year and a half, I guess.
Yeah.
But, kind of on and off. I was really disciplined in the beginning, and then I sort of just, petered out and let it go for a while. And I've been publishing on a platform called Medium, which is just an online website, one of a million, where you can post content. But they have kind of a cool platform, and I really like writing in their platform, so it works out pretty good. So anyway, so I started writing, and I put out an article. God, I guess it's only been like a month or a month and a half ago, something like that. And it got noticed by the editors of Medium. And so they decided to distribute it sort of across the website and in people's emails and all that stuff. So all of a sudden, this one piece started getting some traffic. Shortly thereafter, I was reached out to by a group called The Startup, which is basically the largest online publication on the Medium platform. So they have about 500,000 subscribers, and they do articles on business and life and entrepreneurship and all kinds of different categories and stuff, but it's sort of business-centric stuff. And so they offered to me to have start sharing my work on their platform. And so I started publishing there and, have basically got, I think, 5 or 6 stories out with them now.
Nice.
Now, because, I've tasted the blood, now I'm, I've got Entrepreneur and Forbes and everybody else on my short list. But the guys at The Startup have been great. They've been really supportive of the work I'm putting out, and it's been cool. So you can check that out. It's just ryanrogar.com. We'll take you there. And yeah, there's a bunch of stories on there. If you follow me on social media, it's pretty much the only thing I promote these days is the stories and the stuff I'm writing. So
Dude,
you
nice
can jump
job.
on and check it out. Yeah, it's pretty fun.
That's awesome. That's so cool. I ate like an entire box of Fruity Loops the other day. Like, this is
Well, see,
incredible.
you should have ate a box of Fruity Loops while reading one of my
should've.
stories.
Well, the box of Fruity Loops is what you read while you're eating the Fruity
Yeah.
Loops.
Right.
Yeah, that's why they have stuff on the back. No, dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, I did like a
Good job.
puzzle.
You just need to change your publication source, and then
Yeah,
they'll
right.
be reading
Yeah,
your
if I-
stuff.
if I could get
You
them.
should post on Fruit Loops.
Yeah, right. If I could get them to replace the Sudoku with my my article, that would be awesome.
That would be awesome.
So anyway, so that's been pretty cool. I've been getting a lot of good feedback and everything, and hopefully I can start running into some larger publications and things. And some of that inspiration and actually timing wise worked out after we had Josh Steinley on the show. here on Eggs. I don't know what episode it was. If we had a producer producing, they could tell us. But
Yeah.
he's sitting here, and so so anyway, so
Way
we
to go.
so I'm not sure what episode.
Sorry, that's my bad.
Yeah, so I don't know what episode it was, but anyway, it's fairly recent. But Josh Dimley is a CEO of a marketing firm, and basically he broke his whole firm. Like he, created all his new business by just writing. He got into a few big magazines, and basically that translated into a lot of millions in business, and the rest was history for him. And so I was a little bit inspired by him. And then, within weeks of that, I got this invitation to be published on this platform, and then, now we'll look for other opportunities.
So I started writing an article the other day.
Yeah.
I got like a half a paragraph in. I'm like, nah, I'm good.
What article were you writing about?
Well, it was okay. So
It was an article on writing articles. It was, it was super meta.
Like that SpongeBob
I was
episode.
down
My
the
name is-
rabbit hole. Let me tell you.
Yeah, it was Inception.
Nice.
It was just him writing about him writing,
Well,
and it just went on kind of forever.
I was tagging music. I was going through my Serato library. And
Oh,
kinda
yeah.
Yeah, it was a really easy read. It was like DJ Jazzy Jeff. DJ with it,
Well, I've been doing this form of tagging for about 2 or 3 years now, and just out of curiosity's sake, I was wondering how many I've tagged in the last 10 years. So I did a screen recording of me scrolling through my Serato library, and it took 5 minutes for me to scroll through.
Man.
And so I was
Sounds compelling.
Well, that was my thing. It was like so I put this stupid like soundtrack to it kind of thing, and like a fade in video or whatever for it. And the thought was I was going to click play on this video and then read the article underneath. And over the 5 minutes, it's scrolling, but I was going to talk about the importance of habits and sticking to them and how much you can accomplish over a given period of time.
Little things
yeah.
become big things
so
over
like,
time.
it takes me 30 seconds to tag one track, but times that by, it turns out I'm at 9,576
Nice.
or something like that.
It's a lot of tracks.
Yeah.
And I have 3,000 left to do. But it's like, I can't sit down and do that in a week, but if I just do an hour here, an hour there, or whatever. And it actually, that wasn't even the thought of the article that I was going to write. The thought of was just being prepared, because by tagging those tracks, I'm prepared for any situation that I go into.
Yeah.
So now I don't have to write the article because I just talked about it.
You know,
I'll just
everyone
publish the
knows
video.
that.
Done.
Everyone knows that.
Check that box.
No, and I mean, in everything me and you do with sound and stuff, being prepared is like, that's what I mainly tell every new person
Well, the problem
who comes
is
and works
too,
with me.
It's difficult for him to share like the form of tagging that he does,
Yeah.
because the form is him and his whitey tighties on the couch, and so it's
Eating
like,
Cheetos.
That's the video.
I mean, that's sort of his.
Is that
yeah,
John
that's
White?
the modality.
Is John White? Is that the comedian that's like?
Oh, Ron
No,
White.
it's Ron White. John White,
Eating
that's his
Cheetos
brother.
Yeah.
that's my go-to line whenever I'm in my underwear. For some reason, it's eating Cheetos on the couch because of his.
I've seen your computer. I always dust off the crumbs. I'm like, God, dang, come
Tater
on.
salad.
Oh my God.
So, anyways, yeah, like being prepared though, like you're exactly right about that. Like part of the thing that I started writing was like the first time that I showed up to a gig without the right cable, and you're starting music at 8 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night. You can't run to Radio Shack or this or there to find the right cable. I literally had to cut. It was RCA to quarter inch.
I know what you
is
have
what
to
I
do.
needed, and I had quarter inch to quarter inch. I cut the cable in half, and I taped the cable onto the mixer and made it through the night that way.
My version of that is like crouching down, crying, and then just leaving.
Right?
I just leave all my gear and I walk out.
And they're like, what happened?
You'd never make it in live sound, man.
No, they always, the upside's great. They always get like $3,000 worth of equipment or whatever I brought for the event. But, so for me, it doesn't work out very well, though.
Nah, but I mean, like, that was the idea behind it. But I'm not a writer. I'm so bad. Like, I need to hire you to write for me, and then
You just were talking about building habits and recurring and doing stuff every single day, and you're like, but I'm just bad at writing, so I'm never going to try.
well, I'm horrible at it.
Well,
so,
we were also talking about preparation, and you're our guest. So that's how prepared. That's how much we
I'm the
prepare.
best
around
guest.
here.
I can tell you story after story. I started working here. It's going well.
Beer,
Beer,
liquor, beer.
I can tell you story after story of live shows. I engineer live shows. I'm an interesting
No, I'm just joking. You're a
guest.
good guest. Yeah, no, I'm just joking. So, but
Well, I
but yeah.
mean, to our credit, we do have 115 episodes.
Yeah,
of
man.
And we have
preparedness.
literally
Talk about-
published every Thursday for 2 years.
Yeah,
That's
no,
a big deal.
That's like a big deal. Creating those habits and sticking with them. To anyone who wants to make a podcast,
Well, yeah,
that's harder than it seems.
Well,
Yeah.
especially because I was talking about that podcast earlier, the
Yeah.
long voicemails. He stopped in 2017.
yeah.
I just still think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
So he's missing
So
opportunity.
we should steal it now. No,
Yeah, he's got at least one subscriber and me.
nice.
But
That's all he needs.
yeah, so he's not around anymore, and he didn't put his name anywhere, so I can't even give him credit. So, but anyway, so
works.
but yeah, no, you definitely should write, and if you need to, hire a scribe and get somebody that just sort of stands there
so
while you dictate to them.
Mike Dash, he was on a while ago, was talking about how he wrote his book, and he would literally just talk to his computer and have the dictator kind of
Yeah.
write it down for him.
Well, you
and
can
then
do
he
that
would
and then go back and edit.
it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a version. A lot of people do that so they can write while they're driving or whatever. And I mean,
I would hate to go back and read it though,
well,
because
I was going to say back to the
me mumbling while I'm driving would not be fun.
well, and Siri's a special case anyway. I mean, it's hard to
Yeah.
get her to do anything right. But I mean, back to the aforementioned Joe Rogan. That's how he does his show notes, is just into the notes app on his phone.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm sure there's more to his process than that, but a version of it or a piece of it is just speaking into his phone. So, but
Well-
you could also do just like audio notes, just record the thing. I mean, I've been talking about one of the things I want to do, and I don't think Medium supports this yet. So I'm trying to figure out how to do it, but is just go back and do an audio version of each of my podcast or each
Do
of
a
my
quick
articles.
breakdown.
Oh, nice.
Well, if you go
And just
do
reread it, but add a little
recap,
color commentary or something like an
That's-
audio book.
that'd be
that
cool,
kind of
That'd be
actually,
great. Yeah.
And so, and just do some kind of
Multi-purpose
value.
thing.
add.
Yeah, that'd
I
be
mean,
awesome.
and I mean, even the first like LinkedIn Live video I did was basically me just covering one of my stories. I just kind of went through it and tried to speak it a little more naturally, but I used my article as all the high points, so I didn't have to reinvent the wheel.
Interesting.
So
I've been thinking about writing just about running because I'm like a part of that running community. I've run a
that's
couple
right.
One of these
marathons
too.
and everything
What's
like
that one that you
it wasn't
do
enough that you're vegan.
Vegetarian. I know you just like every flaw with me, man. Everything. It's like, oh, and he runs too. God.
You really want to get pissed off. What's that run that you do? The
Oh, the Bear Gutsman. It
Yeah.
is a 6,000-foot climb to the top of the mountain.
that's essentially running up Mount Eleanor.
Yeah, nobody needs that.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
I know no one likes my sport, but I like my sport, and there's a couple other people who like it. So
There's
back, like,
easily a couple.
yeah, there's like a few. Like the Boston Marathon's like catching momentum.
Maybe one day.
Maybe one. No, I thought about running because that's when I do my best thinking is when I run. It's like a good space to just think. And I thought about just recording thoughts and talking about different stuff that I could turn into articles and just recording it through my phone while I'm running.
Yeah, it's funny. I do a ton of thinking when I run too, but it's mostly ow, shit, ouch, ouch, ow.
I hate this. I hate this. I hate this.
Why
would
am I doing
get up?
this?
21 minutes. 21 minutes, 5 seconds. 20 minutes, 10 seconds.
Well, my thinking consists of shutting the TV off and sitting on the couch for a few more minutes.
You just sit there, Blake, and just stare at the wall.
Yeah.
I do most of my like kind of thought stuff is when I'm landscaping because I just put earplugs in
yeah.
and tone the world out.
Dude, that's the way to do it, man.
So
Yeah, I find it's best just not to think.
Yeah.
That's usually my
That's the best way
modality.
to handle it. Yeah, I don't just generate any ideas.
Yeah. My problem is I generate too many and then I become overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And I can't keep up. And so I can't produce as fast as I think, and therefore, all I feel is like a sense of disappointment all the time.
Oh,
like it's
dude,
just
he's
I
got all these
cannot
brilliant
relate to
ideas.
yeah,
that
it's a total
more.
bummer.
I cannot.
And so
I felt bad when I first started coming with you guys because I was like, "Here's 80 ideas I've had for 5 years," and I was like, "Oh, I hope I didn't come off too strong."
no, I mean honestly, like we're crusty and old, especially that guy over there. And
I'm
so
just getting cranky with age.
Yeah,
It's
so
just-
I can
some new
tell.
young blood in the studio
I
actually
invited-
hasn't been bad.
I invited him to come hang out with me at a show the other day. I was like, "Come on, it'll be fun." And it was like this Grateful Dead cover band. I was like, "There'll be a bunch of like hippies and it's like an open bar." And yeah, he didn't show up.
Oh, for
well,
hippies, an open
you were,
bar?
Well,
you were
the-
0.3 miles away from me.
I think it's the
I was
patchouli oil.
working that night.
You finished an hour before I was done.
I was with a cute bartender. So
Okay, all right, no, it's fine.
All
It's
right.
fine. It's fine. It's
no,
fine.
Mike.
Justified.
Mike actually has a patchouli allergy, so he wasn't able to show up. He didn't want to, embarrass you or
Dude,
whatever.
that was I do shows at this club that I'm not even gonna name, but it's always the weirdest stuff that happens there, man. Like I go home and I talk to my girlfriend and she's like, "Yeah, it's just a weird time." I'm like, "Yeah, like today some guy was just shirtless, just sleeping on the ground in the middle of the show.
That's
No one said anything to him.
They just work around.
They just worked
Work
around.
around. It's the power of community. So yeah, no, I love that stuff. Well, and I actually really miss being in the music business. You know, I spent a lot of years running around doing that stuff, and,
Oh, you
and
totally
I
get it.
I love it. I miss it. You know, but just it's one of those things that sort of having a family ruins.
Yeah.
But it is cool.
Well, you
So
should
yeah,
anytime
and
you
actually
want
we've
to.
been rapping about it a little more lately. I'm taking this class, this thing called Tangible. I'll give them a little shout out, but it's basically an e-commerce school. And but one of the guys in it is this guy. I think he goes by like Van Hoff or Rim Hoff or something Hoff. Not the guy that jumps into freezing water, but he's a singer type. But he's running around in Nashville and selling songs and doing all this stuff, like, you know, living the music biz dream. So we're talking, his product that he's launching is basically a new album. And so it's been kind of fun watching him work through all that. And
Get it
I should probably
going.
find his name.
Yeah. Find his name, invite him on the show.
If we had a
that'd be a good one to
producer,
have on the show. How am I supposed to know you were going to talk about this guy?
okay, yeah, it is Van Hoff. I was
Van
right.
Hoff.
So, but
We should get him on the show.
Oh yeah, for
I'll
sure.
look him up.
Well, and he actually does some other cool stuff. He started a little marketing business, so he's really big into outdoors,
Nice.
and you know, all these like backcountry camping and stuff like that, like totally off grid stuff. And he was arranging all these trips for his friends where he was getting gear and all this stuff. But then while he was out there, he was taking all this really cool photography of stuff.
Oh, nice.
And at some point, you know, because he had to basically figure out budgets to go buy equipment and buy all this stuff for every tour, he started getting sponsorship. So like he does work with like Yeti and
Oh,
Cotopaxi
awesome.
and some of these others. He goes back to these really remote backcountry places and photographs their gear being used by this group of people that he
Oh, that's
travels with.
Oh,
brilliant.
that's awesome.
And so he's basically turned it into like travel tourism, and he gets
Yeah.
to go and do, you know, all this backcountry stuff he loves doing.
That's,
So I mean, it's really cool. It's the epitome of taking what you love and turning it
Yeah.
into work. You know, it's pretty cool.
I'm trying to swing that right now with my Instagram with live sound. I'm like taking pictures of microphones I'm using. I'm like, hey, guess what I used today? And so far, I've had one brand like one of my pictures, and I'm like, I've made it. This is it.
We're so there.
We're set. We're set.
yeah,
now.
I'm
No,
trying to
dude,
get
that's the
I'm
way
trying to get
do
a
it, man.
Fresca sponsorship. I rediscovered Fresca, and that's my jam now.
Well, and I tried some today,
It's
and
good, right?
I'm like wondering why I haven't been drinking it
yeah,
for the last 10
Fresca
years.
is the
And
drink of summer.
My
The
next,
official drink of summer.
Not trying to ruin our Fresca sponsorship, but I'm wondering there's got to be something in there that's killing me.
Well, for sure, but that's the part we don't talk about. I mean, there was a long list of ingredients, but it's 0 calories, and honestly, it was the original like 0 cal, 0 carb kind of drink. But like that wasn't sexy when
I
Fresca
don't
was a
remember
thing.
it being marketed like that.
Yeah,
though.
no, it was
I
like
remember it being like, because if that was their marketing, like Coke Zero.
Yeah.
I mean, like this is the original Coke Zero, and it
Yeah.
doesn't taste bad.
Exactly. Well, and that was the thing. And this predated all that crap. Like Fresca was the jam back in the day, but like nobody knew or nobody cared because back then we still thought carbs were part of our diet. And so people weren't worried about it the way they are now. And so we went to like this little kid's birthday party of all things, and they had Fresca there. And so I was like, okay, I'll try Fresca. And like, because I remember as a kid not liking it that
Yeah.
much. And
Well, it didn't have as much sugar.
yeah,
It wasn't
and
like,
so-
straight
yeah, it
up.
wasn't like a
They
Coke
changed
or
the
something.
recipe now.
Yeah, right. Yeah, now it's all sugar. No, but it was like game on with Fresca with me. I mean, like God, we go through like a case a week now of like every flavor. They
Yeah.
have 3 flavors, and we go nuts on Fresca.
Dude,
That's
I'm like
awesome.
So
the most adult thing that's happened to me since, I'm like 22, so I'm like slowly learning how to,
Adult.
be an adult and
Yeah.
do things. And I realize now I have just an unbridled love for any kind of sparkling water, like a crazy, like I'm not kidding. Same
Yeah.
thing for me. I drink like 2 cases a week.
yeah,
Wow.
well,
I'm like,
and you can
"What's wrong
totally
with
put
me?"
booze in it. So
Yeah.
I get it.
We're on the same thing.
I'm like, what's wrong with me? Like,
Yeah,
what is
no.
it? And then I bought a filter for my water, and I'm like, this is it. I'm like an adult now. I have an apartment.
look
I
at
have
you.
a filter for my water. I'm like drinking sparkling water. I'm like, yeah.
No, you're only really an adult when those things like water filters turn into these weird residual bills where you're paying like $30 a month for something like filtered
He's
water.
literally doing that right now.
Yeah,
Did
yeah,
you just
yeah.
install a hard water filter in your house?
Yeah, we had to have a hard water
Yeah.
filter. And
So-
so,
They're winning. You know what
yeah.
I mean? Like some company won.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, we got beat. Yeah, that stupid thing was $7,000. Yeah,
Big water has you now.
I know. And honestly, I don't think it's any better.
I don't care.
prefer
I don't
regular
care.
water.
Also, I just want to point out, Mike totally killed our Coke Zero sponsor. Thanks, dude.
That's all right. I'm on
We're
board
going
with
for
Fresca.
Fresca
We're
anyways.
going for Fresca.
So,
Fresca. Keep
and,
it fresh.
yeah, and I could be wrong. Yeah, I don't know who's distributing it because it's Coke or somebody. Coca-Cola. So see, we're
Coca-Cola.
still on
So
board.
we're on board.
We're still solid.
I did a gig
So
once.
that's Fresca once again, the official drink of summer.
So I did a gig once.
The end of summer.
the end of summer.
The official
Midsummer.
drink of the end of summer.
End of summer, even though it's going to be 100 when it's Christmas.
That's right. Yeah.
I did a gig once for Coca-Cola, and
Ooh.
someone walked in. One of my guys I was working with walked in with a Pepsi, and the lady the producer of the show, we were having the CEO of Coke come in and like the owner of Smith's come in. She walked up and grabbed his Pepsi and looked at him and just threw it in the trash and opened a Coke and set it on the table where it was and
That's
walked away.
brilliant.
What a great commercial
Just
would that
walked
be?
away. And he looked at me and I looked at him. I was like, "Don't bring a Pepsi. They're a client."
So Microsoft is in Seattle, right?
Oh, yeah.
And
those guys.
Those
Ugh.
guys, right? I
We're
show up to
broadcasting to
DJ a
an Apple
Microsoft
right now,
gig
just so you know.
with my Apple laptop, and I had to put a cover over it.
They really made. Did they make you, or did you do it just
They had me put a cover on my laptop.
And did you look at them and be like, "Well,
Well, I mean,
Get
it's not
better.
like I could go and download my software.
Step
I
up your
could-
game, guys.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
like I would have to have a specific Apple or
Well, it makes sense because I'm sure they're doing some video work and stuff
Yeah,
like
they
that
don't
for
wanna
that
see
kind of
the DJ
event. The last
rocking a
thing they
Mac.
want to
No,
see
they
is
don't.
Mac.
Here's a really nerdy joke. You should have just looked at them and be like, "I'm sorry, FL Studio sucks." Thanks, all you guys and about 30 other people out there that got that one.
yeah, right.
Hey, I used to love Fruity Loops. That thing was awesome.
FL
Speaking of
Studio.
Fruity Loops,
Fruity
again.
Loops, yeah.
See, look at that.
Look at that.
Full circle.
Full circle.
Speaking of that, it's probably time we end this.
No, we got 15 more minutes of
That's
this
the
joyride.
producer and me coming around right there.
See, the man knows how to tell a story.
Yeah,
got
see, I
15
know how
more
to
minutes.
cover it. I know how
What
to
are we gonna
cover it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so one of the things that we've been doing this summer, because it's summer, enjoying our Fresca every mile of the way, is traveling. And so Mike, in this time of the year, for anybody who pays any attention, realizes that this is wedding season
I
for
go
Miguel.
off grid.
Yeah,
and
basically.
Mike sort of disappears for a little bit. And so now, having come slightly back on grid, although he leaves again in a week.
I leave tomorrow, 2 days from now.
Oh, yeah. See,
Yeah.
he leaves 2
And
days
then
from
and
now.
then I'm gone for a week or 2 weeks, and then I've got 2 weeks off, and I'm gone for 2 weeks.
Oh, we got to figure out
So
a
that means
podcast for next week.
with eggs, I'll just pretend to be Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah, or we'll get that Balthazar guy we were talking about earlier.
Or, yeah,
he seems like a
Balthazar, or
good
we
guy.
can just get like DJ samples and it'll basically like, "Meow, meow, meow." Mike's joining
Well,
us.
actually, if
horn.
you wouldn't mind,
Nonstop.
Mike was telling me earlier about this soundboard app you can get now
Oh,
with this
yeah.
little Bluetooth thing we have in the studio.
Yeah,
So
we
let's
can do
get that,
man. I can
app,
hook that
but
up.
like take this episode and just cut it up into a bunch of sound bites.
I'm
like
gonna
just his
return
laugh.
this.
Let's get get Mike just laughing or like yeses and nos and like yeah that's awesome or
So,
those
I'm
kinds
not
of
getting
things.
next
You
Wednesday.
know what's-
You're gonna have a fake Mike on the show.
That's awesome.
You know what's
That'll be
gonna be
awesome. It'll
hilarious?
be me and Brandon and fake Mike.
I love it.
My family literally photoshopped me into a family photo.
Oh,
like
that's
had me
awesome.
stat in the kind of the same spot, but the problem was different lighting. So I
Oh,
look
yeah.
like Casper the Ghost while everyone has good
That's
lighting.
amazing.
Because they shot me when it was overcast.
Oh,
Dude,
that's awesome.
we did family photos once, and my brother's name is Tyler. We call him Ty. He didn't show up, so we just held a tie in between the rest of us. And seriously, my grandma got it blown up to this giant picture that hangs in the living room, and in the middle of it is me holding a tie.
That's pretty
great.
awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I'm
So
gonna
let's
be
talk a little
gone.
bit
Yeah,
about
how
your
was
travels.
that?
So I mean, how are things going? You're up in like Chelan area, right?
Yeah, so that's kind of where I do most of the weddings at in Eastern Washington, a place called Lake Chelan. But around there's a lot of other places. Winthrop, Wenatchee's close to there. The Gorge is kind of in that same area. So there's a lot of it's essentially wine country for everyone in Washington.
Nice.
They go and tour that area. So I do a lot of bigger, high budget weddings that are kind of out there. And the last one I did, I mean, they brought in a full on tent in this guy's backyard. He lives on the river, and it just huge. They brought in a mobile kitchen. They brought in just all sorts of fun stuff.
Nice.
Luxury bathroom, portable
Ooh.
bathroom
That's
that was had AC going through it, and then
nice.
wedding kind of happy music playing in the background.
nice.
So
That
you're
is great.
pooping and you got AC going.
That is a great place to catch up on Candy Crush.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is the best. So when I was a wedding DJ when I was like 16, which I don't know why anyone hired me, But the best part about it is I got to always eat the wedding cake.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. You probably are way more professional than I was when I was 16, but that was my favorite part about it.
I announced the wedding cake. I don't usually
Did they
eat
never
it.
leave you some?
Well, I could probably go up and get some if I wanted,
But you're way more professional than a 16-year-old.
no.
I don't know
The
about
first
that.
wedding I did, technically, I was, I had done paid gigs before that, but the first wedding, my dad had to drop me off too. I was too young to drive. He had to pick me up when I was done. So
That's
it
the
was
best.
it was I've been doing weddings for quite a while, and I've seen pretty much anything.
Nice.
So it's just a matter of
You're sick of wedding cake, is what you're telling me.
well, I mean, like I'm sick of prime rib at this point. It's like that's one perk about doing weddings. It's usually pretty good,
Nice,
which is
dude.
nice.
Well, it sounds like it's working out well. Every time I called you, you were in the car.
Yeah. Well, it's this time of year I drive
Yeah.
a lot. Having the studio here in Salt Lake and doing weddings there, and responsibilities literally all over the from
Pacific
Seattle to here.
Northwest.
It's a lot of travel. So
Yeah.
busy time of year.
Well, so speaking of driving and stuff, because we've got a couple minutes left, I'll tell you guys my Turo experience.
Oh yeah, sure.
Has anybody heard of Turo before? Do you guys know what that is? So basically, Turo is an app kind of like Airbnb, but for cars.
Oh, yes. I
So
have
like you
heard
can go
about
and borrow
this.
people's cars instead. And so yesterday I had a car issue. We had a car up in the shop in Idaho, and so we only had one car down here, but we needed a second one. And I got on, normally we do all our business booking through Avis. That's avis.com. And we do normally all our business booking through them, but for whatever reason, literally not a car on the lot. The only thing they had was like a 12-passenger van. And then
You should have rocked the 12
but then
passenger van.
but then Budget, Alamo, everybody sold
Yeah,
out
that's
too.
true.
So I don't know what was going on in Salt Lake, but they're all sold out. And so anyway, I wasn't able to get a car from them, so I thought I would try this Turo. I actually had already had the app just to check it out, but had never done it before. So I went ahead and did that. Ended up for about the same money I was going to pay for like a, I don't know, Chevy Malibu or something. I ended up with a Tesla Model 3.
Oh, nice.
Which was pretty dope. Not going to lie about that. So back to Elon Musk smoking weed. The kids were super fond of the cowbell function and the whoopee cushion turn signals.
You probably spent
So that was
3
pretty cool.
hours out there Googling every function that
Every
car can
fun-
do.
It's all
No,
on like
I
one
see
little
him.
app
I literally
screen.
Yeah,
see
it's
him
cool.
sitting in his driveway with the kids in the back seat,
Yeah.
googling.
No.
Let's make this into turbo
Well, it's
mode.
also nice. It's also nice because you can just get out of the car, put it on dog
Yeah.
mode, and leave your kids in there, and they're fine.
Yeah, it's awesome.
They-
But actually, so here's
they
the
have
thing.
that.
Don't do that. Don't do that, guys.
So yeah, some PETA person will come break out your windows
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
Well,
So
It could be running and they would do that.
Well,
Like
so
the
here's
AC
what's
could-
crazy about it, right? The one thing I did, well, two things I did have to Google. One was how to charge it, but the other one, how to turn it on and off. Because there's not a key, there's not a button, there's not an ignition, there's nothing.
Do they have their own version of Alexa?
No, well, they do, but
it's Joe Rogan.
Joe, turn the car on.
no, but you basically just get out, close the door, and walk away, and it just turns off. That's it. It's kind
Really?
of just done.
Mm-hmm.
And
He's
so,
probably got some weight sensor in
Dude,
the
they're
seat.
so cool.
yeah, it's the craziest
It's the
thing. I mean,
keys.
yeah, and see, in ours, I didn't even have a key. I had it looked like a credit card, and you just tap the credit card on the A pillar, like between the doors in the back, and you just sort of tap it there. The mirrors come out, gives you a little honk, and welcomes you to the car, and then it fires up the AC. By the time you're inside, it's getting cold already. And then when you're done and you walk away, just get out. Same thing. Tap it on that little A pillar, and it locks the doors, and you're done. You're on your way.
Pretty damn
And
cool.
it's pretty dope. I'm not gonna
They're
lie.
So if you've never been in one, they're so
Yeah,
cool.
I had never been in one before. This one, I think, it must have been like their low range model because it could only do about 200 miles, which But I mean,
Darn.
like I did like 190 miles yesterday, so I mean, it was like
You were coming up with any excuse to go. You were running errands for your wife.
No,
left
it
and
wasn't
right.
even
She's like,
that.
Can I go get something for you?
No, it was,
I'm a little thirsty. You need Fresca?
that's right, the drink of end of summer, so, the official drink of the end of
The
summer.
Eggs podcast.
But I started to I had to drive it from Farmington, Utah, where I live, down to Lehi, Utah, and it's
okay.
like 40 miles.
yeah.
So it's 40 miles round trip, and then also I had to pick it up in Murray, take it back to Farmington, go to Lehigh, back,
So you
down
had to
down
charge
to
it at
Murray
some
again.
point.
So I ended up actually when I had gone down to this tangible class that we were talking about earlier. They at the building where they're at, they had a charging station out front. So I plugged in, but it took me like a good 20 or 30 minutes to figure out how to get plugged in. And so because there was some
He's
combination.
all running late to the meeting.
Well,
like,
'cause I was
don't
trying-
mind me, I couldn't figure out how to charge my Tesla.
Because here's the thing: if you get out of the car and lock the car, it won't open the little flappy do for the charging port. And so you have to leave it unlocked when you get out of the car, open the little flappy do, and then you're good to go. Now, everything in the car is push button though. So like all the way down to opening the glove box is done with a button on an iPad. And so the little back flippy do, there's a button to open also. And so, but apparently I just went out on a whim and sort of waved my hand over it, and that worked too. What? And so, like, yeah. So I mean, I just kind
of the car, just like
I was like, well, I was praying it would work, right? Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. And I hope I didn't just make that up because I swear it just opened. But
amazing.
I mean, if that's not a feature, it should be.
Some dude's running out to his Tesla.
Yeah, we're gonna have a bunch of haters on this one. How come when I wave over my flap, it doesn't work?
Wrong model.
Yeah, this was a
model.
2019. But then, so once I finally got the flap,
your drivers.
well, and then once I got the flappy do open, because I think the car was kind of running, and I'm trying to plug in, but the little port didn't fit, so I had to get in the trunk, and I found they had an adapter, so I put on the little adapter, and then it worked, and I got it in, and then I could lock the car, and it was all right. But it was like, I mean, just figuring out all these processes was like kind of funky, because I'd never done it before. I mean, I guess, hats off to those guys at Tesla, because it was, I guess, UI'd enough that I was able
were
to kind of
able to
look at
figure
it
it
and
out.
solve it. So that was cool. And then, all the bells and whistles are cool. My kid came out, and of course he wanted to see like the video game
Oh, yeah.
modes and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And so one of them, they've got like this beach buggy video game or something, but you actually control it with the steering wheel of the Tesla. So like you turn the wheel and you use the gas and the brakes of the real car
While you're parked.
to drive the video
While
game.
you're parked.
Yeah, while you're parked. You can't do this while you're
I
driving.
was just saying that.
It's like a
Slamming
game
at
of
everybody.
Frogger on
Very
I-5.
important.
So yeah, no, we did this in the driveway, but it's cool because you actually control it
Yeah.
using the parts of the car, which is kind of cool. And so that was cool. I tested out the little auto drive function on the way home last night. So coming back from Lehigh because there
quick
wasn't that
nap.
much traffic. Yeah, well, it's cool, but you can tell we're not quite there yet. Like, it'll stay in your lane and it'll speed up and slow down and that kind of thing. But like, it won't pass people. It won't exit at freeway ramps or any of
It's
that
not
kind
going
of
to
stuff.
go 85 like
Oh,
every other drive.
it'll go 85.
Yeah, it'll go. Oh,
Well,
yeah.
and this is the other thing, right? So I was talking to this guy yesterday, and he's like, "Oh, well, how's it perform?" And I was like, I just grabbed it, so I was like, I don't know. I mean, it's all right, I guess. It's a little car. It does fine. So, but when you get in and hop on that thing, like
Yeah,
that's what they're
there's no
saying. So-
combustion.
yeah, there's no combustion. So there's basically like crazy torque.
Yeah.
And like even at 80 miles an hour, if you jump on it, you're back up to 100 miles an hour and it feels like you didn't do anything. Like it's the weirdest thing. And it has kind of this weird like power braking kind of sensation where just like you let your foot off the gas, it puts on the brake lights and just kind of like almost like engine brakes or something. Like it just slows the vehicle. It's really interesting. So it is a little bit of a different drive than other
wonder
stuff,
how,
but
like,
it was cool. Yeah, it was really cool.
I mean, because it's an electric motor that's powering the thing. So they have to have some sort of clutch or something built into...
I don't know what it is. It's some kind of direct drive system, and you just hop on it, and it's full
That's why
power.
they have so much
as long
torque,
as
because it's direct.
as long as you're pressing on the gas, it will go.
It's essentially a
I mean, it
very
must cap out
expensive
somewhere,
go-kart.
but yeah. I mean, it must cap out somewhere. I
Yeah.
mean, it's not driving infinitely faster.
Well, there's only one way to find out.
Yeah, right. And so, but anyway, but super cool. So, shout out to Tesla.
Good job,
That was really
Tesla.
fun. And
The car
and-
of the end of the summer.
Yeah, that's right. The official car of the Eggs podcast. So,
Oh, I wish that'd be nice.
yeah,
I want a
right. We should get a
Tesla.
couple of those.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, I reached out, or I mean, like I was price shopping them after I drove it, because it was so cool.
yeah.
But even
you heard about
even
the
a
new
used one of
Corvettes?
these is pretty spendy.
So supposedly they're like engine center frame, so it helps on stance. This is according to a friend I was talking to, so don't fact check me. But supposedly it's like the first vehicle at that price point that's consumer grade that you can get a center frame engine.
Oh, wow.
That's like Joe Rogan was talking about it the other day.
Yeah, okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And how is it for cup holders for Arcana Fresca, the official?
Actually, I kind of want to Google this right now because it supposedly is a badass car. It starts at $60,000.
Oh,
So-
pocket change. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
got that
for
lying around.
that kind of
Oh
performance,
yeah,
though.
no, it's great.
I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
like,
pretty cool.
who bought the Kia version of the sports car?
Oh yeah, my brother-in-law got the Kia. What is it, Stinger?
So for the same
Oh,
price
yeah,
point,
same price.
Yeah, basically
could
the
get
same price as a Stinger.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Stinger's pretty cool. Although, not gonna lie, they've got a new Supra out, Toyota Supra, and that used to be my favorite car when I was a kid. And now the new ones are pretty dope. So, but I think it's gonna be kind of like this Kia. They're sort of consumer-ish sports cars, not real sports cars. I mean, they're cool, they're awesome, but totally kind of a different thing. They,
Some dude out there with that car's like, yeah, okay, thanks.
yeah, my
Ooh,
brother-in-law.
This is pretty sexy.
Yeah,
though.
my brother-in-law is apparently planning to buy a second one. That's how much he likes it.
Oh,
So.
nice.
The Stinger?
Yeah,
Really?
He wants to
too.
get one for himself, so he can. His wife drives their one, and he wants to get
Tell him to
another
get one of those instead.
Oh, that is a cool
That's
car.
pretty
Yeah,
sexy.
that looks pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
It goes rim.
So for everybody who can't see this, it's a Vet.
Yeah.
It looks cool. It is
But
red. It has 4 wheels.
I don't know. It's pretty dang
Probably
cool.
steering
Yeah,
wheel.
it's very car-like in nature.
Very car. Probably inspired from a car.
Yeah, pretty dope though.
All right.
So well, cool. All right. Well,
Good deal.
we've managed to do a show. So
Yeah.
hey, that was cool.
Had a good time.
Brandon, you're arguably better than Mike, so maybe we just do this together next week.
With Big Mike. We talked about this. I had a good time, man.
Well,
Thanks for,
and so, but yeah. Anyway, so this is Brandon. You'll see him pop up on video every now and then. He's going to be helping us out around the studio, and as we start moving into doing more and more show production and content creation for third parties, he'll be the guy hanging out around the studio under Mike's tutelage, and it should be pretty great. Bright future ahead.
Thanks so much, guys.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
So thanks to everybody who tuned in. As usual, catch us on eggscast.com. Leave us a note. Send us some love. Let us know what you think, what you like, what you hate. More of what you like, though. We're delicate. And so, but yeah, and I guess that's kind of it.
Yep.
So yeah, everybody have an awesome week. We'll see you next time.
All right.
Bye.